Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the KillJoy Jake podcast. I'm joined here with Slashin' It with Matt to talk about some 2024 horror movies that we're both very excited for. How's it going, Matt? How you doing?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
I'm hyped, man. I'm excited for another year of horror to cover. 2023, a lot of people have said was a bit of a step down from 2022. What are your thoughts on that? Just like, how was the last year of horror for you?
I agree with you on that 100%. 2022, we just had so many good ones from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, and it was just great. 2023 had some good ones, had some flops. So I'm hoping that 2024 is better than 2023, but I don't think it's going to touch 2022, like you said.
I'm with you, man. I don't know, like 2022, by far the best year I've ever had for just like watching horror movies and stuff. It was great. So many great releases. Terrifier 2 obviously is like a big one. And next year we have Terrifier 3 coming out, man, which I'm very excited for. This is one that you're hyped for as well, right?
Oh yeah, I can't wait for it. Like like I said, like we did the last podcast, Terrifier 1 was good. Terrifier 2 was amazing. So, I really think they're going to really step it up on this third one. I know there's some controversial things surrounding the movie. So, but, no one can really say until we see the movie. So I'm excited to see what they do with it. I'm pretty open-minded with stuff like that. So we'll see what they do.
How do you feel about like the teaser trailer that came out? Like, do you think that little girl's in trouble or what do you think's going on there?
Me personally, I don't think they're going to kill off this little girl. I think that was kind of just like a thing to get people going and people talking. If they do, I mean, I'm not going to hold it against them, but I don't think they're going to do it. Like, honestly, if I had to guess right now, I don't think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to step it up from what they did in Terrifier 2, but I don't think they're going to go to that level. And if they do, that's Damien Leone's creative style, and I respect whatever choice he makes. I'm still going to watch the movie.
They also filmed that like over the summer, and principal photography is supposed to be beginning like at the end of January of this upcoming year. So like, I don't think it might not even be in the movie. It might have just been like a fun teaser or something. So you never know.
I heard people say that too. It could just be like exactly what you said, just a teaser. It might not even be in the movie, just like a promotional thing.
So it's something, it's food for thought at the very least. I do hope we get to see Art in the Santa costume, as we know it's going to be a Christmas horror. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Are you looking to see any other like Christmas, like elements to the holiday utilized in this upcoming threequel?
I know something you've talked about a lot was like the mall Santa Claus, and that's what he's wearing around his neck. I think that'd be pretty cool to see, honestly. Him just going through a mall, doing that type of thing. Like, that's something I don't think we've actually seen in a horror movie before. I know there's so many Christmas horror movies now, and a lot that go back to the 80s, but I've never seen it.
Have you ever watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Very out there question, but
yeah, I know. People love that show. It has such a big fan base, but I've never personally sat there and watched it. I think I watched, I don't know, maybe a couple episodes here and there way back in the day, but that's it.
The like where that came from in my head, like with the mall Santa thing, was just like there's a sequence during the Christmas special where something happens with some of the characters in a mall Santa. They like literally attack him and stuff. It's ridiculous. And I'm like,
nice.
Imagine that with Art the Clown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that would be insane.
Sure. For sure.
So something like that would be fun, I think, in the film, but it's definitely like personally my most anticipated. Is there any other 2024 horror flicks that are on your radar right now?
Well, I know just a week from today, actually, we get Night Swim, which I'm actually pretty excited for. And do you know if Blumhouse is doing that movie? I can't recall.
It is Blumhouse, yeah.
Okay, because like you said, and like I didn't agree with you necessarily before, but when you were talking about how Blumhouse last year has put out some flop movies, I really thought about it, and I'm like, you're right. They're very like studio focused, and you could just feel directors not being able to do what they want to do. And you're right. It's been pretty much every Blumhouse movie. And, going back to like The Exorcist Believer, first time I watched that, I thought I liked it. I'm like, okay, this isn't bad. But like hearing other people's opinions on it, I kind of backtracked on that. And I kind of agree. It's just, you're pretty much your basic possession movie that really has no ties to that original film besides the two cameos we get.
Yeah, I was pretty hard on that one, but like at the same time, if you're gonna build this as a continuation to The Exorcist, you can't just do what the copycats have done. That's my big thing about it. Like you're right, it's not like the worst one of those I've ever seen. There are far worse exorcism movies for sure, but if you're gonna build this as this is technically the continuation to that original film, dude, like y'all dropped the ball. That was kind of my thinking with it. So I guess that's why I was so harsh on it. I'm so protective of that original. It's one of my favorite horror films ever.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, going. Oh no, sorry. Were you gonna say something, Jake?
I was just gonna say, going back to Night Swim, man.
Yeah.
You're excited for this one though.
Yeah, no, it looks good. And the only thing I'm disappointed about with that one is they released that second trailer. I wish we would have just got the first trailer. Kind of reminded me of like what they did with Barbarian. We got that very first trailer, the only trailer, which didn't give us anything. And I kind of wish they would have kind of did that with this, even though I know Blumhouse didn't do Barbarian. But I don't know. The second trailer kind of gave away some clues to me. So it's like I wish we would have just had that first trailer and then kind of went in blind, but I'm still excited for it.
Blumhouse's marketing is notoriously revealing, and Night Swim is unfortunately falling victim to it as well. Like you were just saying, I mean, a lot of the jump scares and stuff, I feel like we're already given away in that second trailer. Like the one girl swimming up to, and she sees her mom, and then when she comes out of the water, it's a monster or something.
Exactly.
I'm excited for the cast of this one though. We have Wyatt Russell in this one, so like that might actually prove to be something special. What are your thoughts on all that?
No, I just think overall, like, and from what I did see of the trailer, I'm like, the acting seems super impressive. It seems like I think it's based off of a short movie, like a horror short. But it still seems so original. It's never anything I've seen before, and I didn't see the horror short, so it's nice to see like original stuff coming out. So I'm excited for it. But I mean, it looks good,
and we got to give original horror a chance, even if it is from Blumhouse. I mean, we were just talking; they're very hit or miss. I mean, even from last year, I will say like every Blumhouse movie I saw last year was either like I loved this or I was just not crazy about it at all. There was like just no in between. So it's a gamble, man. But I think it could be good. This one could be a surprise January release, which would be great.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. And I know Megan did good. That came out last January. So I'm hoping, it's like leveled with Megan at least, if not better. I hope it's better, but we'll see.
I hope so. Were you a fan of Megan or no?
I liked the movie, actually. I did. I don't know. It's something they've done before, but I feel like the style they chose to go with, it was good to me. Like, I'm glad they're doing a sequel. I'm excited about that. So to me, it's better than the remake of Chucky that we got back in 2019. I didn't care for that movie too much.
I think that's a great way to put it too. Like it's pretty much treading familiar ground. It's an evil doll and all that, but the tone and the style of how they approached it was very different. I think that was my big thing I liked about it. I was kind of just expecting TikTok movie based on the marketing, and I felt it was a little better than that personally. It made my top 10 for the year. So
sure.
I'll say that.
Movie. Yeah.
I know you said you weren't hyped for Imaginary. I'm curious, what about the trailer? Like you're not hyped for? Because I have my qualms with it too. But what you're not hyped for Imaginary so much?
I guess the best way to say why I'm not excited for that movie. Originally, I was when they were marketing for it and promoting for it, and they're like, "Oh, trailer coming out tomorrow." But I watched that trailer, and I'm like, I feel like I've seen this movie 100 times, and I don't know, it just didn't spark my interest. I'm gonna go see it and form my opinion after I see it, but from that trailer, I'm like, I've seen this movie 100 times.
I definitely feel you on that one. I think the one thing about it that I'm intrigued by is the girl drawing the portal or whatever in the basement with the chalk. I'm like, this could be interesting. We're going to a different realm where there's like imaginary creatures and stuff. It could be a surprise, but I'm kind of with you. I feel like I know exactly how that movie is going to flow and where we're going to end up. But I hope we're pleasantly surprised here in March when that one releases. But I don't know.
Like I said, I'm going to give it its chance. I give all horror movies a chance, but I mean, we'll see. It's just like I said, I feel like I've seen that movie before, and it's like, I don't know. I feel like because that movie, like it's based off of the previous owner that's moved back there and has like I couldn't tell if it's like her stepdaughter or whoever like the relationship is, but it's like I feel like going back to childhood home, seeing it before. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels very typical Blumhouse.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So, I mean, we'll see. Like I said, I give them all a chance.
As long as it's better than Insidious, The Red Door, man,
and
I guess I'll take it.
I never seen Insidious Red Door.
Okay.
Yeah. And I from what I've heard about it, I really don't want to.
Do you like the other two, like the first two movies or so? Or?
I really liked the first one. The second one was, from what I remember, it's been a while. It was okay. Once they did like 3 and like the fourth one, I couldn't even like sit through it. I wanted to leave the theater.
Yeah, it's fair. I feel like they've diminished a lot as they've gone along. But
Yeah.
5, I thought it was cool. Like, it was cool to see the characters back from the original again. That was fun. Seeing Dalton grown up and stuff. I
Yeah.
think if you like the first one, it's worth a watch. But don't expect the best.
Yeah.
Like, it's my least favorite Insidious personally. Like, I
Okay.
would put it right at the bottom. But
Okay.
it's got some good jump scares if you're into that, and it's cool to see like Patrick Wilson back on the big screen in an Insidious flick. So that's fun. But
All right.
I
Yeah, I'll
don't know.
check it out.
But we also have Maxine coming out next year, which is one I believe we're both very excited for. What are your thoughts on Ty West's continuation to the X trilogy?
Oh, I'm very hyped for that. I wish we would have saw it last year, but um I don't know. I guess the fact that like we have to wait for it's gonna, make the experience even better. But I'm so excited for it. I absolutely loved X. To me, that was a very artsy film. And typically I don't like movies with like that much sex and things like that in it, but in this movie it was fine because it like served the plot very well. And just that film from beginning to end, I don't know, it felt like a piece of artwork to me more than it did a movie, and I thought it was great. And going into like Pearl, I didn't care for Pearl as much, but it was still a good movie to see where Pearl was back in 1918. So I'm glad they showed us that, but now we get to see Maxine in the future, and it's like I don't know where they're going to go with that though, because I'm kind of wondering, is Maxine going to turn into a villain, or is like it going to be kind of correlated to like her father's congregation and in like the whole religious thing that he's involved in, because Maxine left when she was younger. I'm kind of interested to see how they're going to intertwine that.
I imagine that has to be a focal point of it. I mean, that
Yeah.
was something that was set up and looming in the background of X. Kind of
Yeah.
gave it this like religious apocalyptic feel about it, which is
Oh, yeah.
what I think makes that ending so much stronger and so much more devastating
Yeah.
in a lot of great ways.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm excited to see like who the real antagonist of Maxine is going to end up being. Do you think that Maxine like kind of goes the same route as Pearl and starts chopping up her friends in LA?
I was literally just gonna say that because in X they make such a focus to show these two mirroring each other, saying they're the same person. So I'm thinking maybe she's in Hollywood now. She has things going on, but I'm thinking maybe she doesn't get as successful as she wanted to be. You remember in that original film, she said, "I need to be a star. I will not accept anything less." Anything less. And
Yeah.
Pearl said the same thing. So it's like I think they're mirrored as the same person. So to be honest with you, after just saying that, I'm thinking in Maxine, she's gonna take a darker turn.
Because it might be a thing like she made it on the outside, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
oh, you're successful. Like maybe if it's, in porn, if it's in actual movies, whatever.
yeah.
But to some degree, you could argue she made it, but maybe she's not as successful as she liked. And she
Right.
still starts going on a killing spree. And then it could beg the question, what if Pearl made that audition? What if she did go out there? Would she still start killing people because she's still jealous of the bigger fish that will always be there no matter what? You know what I mean?
Right.
I
Yeah,
think that's what
a,
these movies are trying to say.
yeah, that's a great way to look at it too. Like I don't know. Maybe they'll surprise us with like something completely new. I don't know, but that's a great way to look at it. There's so much to read into on those two movies alone. It's nuts. Like even on Pearl, that last 10 minutes when she's talking to her sister-in-law, you want to know like that look on her sister-in-law's face, and they don't even show you. There's so much good in both of those films that I know they're gonna bring in to this movie, and I don't know. So many people don't like X. They just think it's like a garbage movie. I see it as art, and I'm excited for it.
No, but I love the point you made about X earlier, where you're
Yeah.
like, the sex here doesn't feel unnatural. Like there's so many like other slasher films from like the 80s and stuff where it's just like gratuitous
Yeah.
nudity. You know what I mean? It's like we
Right.
got to get naked women in here for some reason. And it's like, but it makes sense with the characters in X. You know what I mean? It totally works considering the situation.
It does. It fit the plot so well. Like I couldn't imagine it like without that.
Precisely. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more, man. I'm
Yeah.
very excited to see what they do with Maxine. And I feel like it's going to feel more, I feel like it's going to feel like a mixture of both X and Pearl, having like the fun slasher elements
Yeah.
of X with the backstory feeling and like focus in on a singular character of Maxine, just like how Pearl has with Pearl.
Exactly. Yeah. And I kind of hope they do flashbacks to like Maxine's childhood. Maybe that'll give us some insight too.
Like as to why she's like this and like
Exactly.
how she wanted to become a star and all that. That could be
Right.
fun. I'm very much so into that. I'm hyped for the LA setting too. I think a slasher in LA. I mean, it kind of, Scream 3 comes to mind immediately. Are you hyped for this like brand new setting, where the last two kind of take place kind of at the same place, even though at different periods of time?
Right. No, I think it's gonna be great. I think the new setting, like I'm with you. Like I didn't care for the LA setting on Scream 3, and I hope whatever happens with Scream 7, they don't go back to LA. But this movie specifically, I think it's gonna fit it so well because you know that she wanted to be a star, and that's where everyone goes is to Hollywood is to get their stardom and be in things and get their fame. So I think it's gonna also fit the plot of the movie really well.
So that does bring us to another topic. Scream 7 may or may not release next year. If I were a betting man, I would say probably not.
Yeah.
But where are you right now with that film?
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of upset when like the cast started dropping like flies. I'm like, okay, but with Christopher Landon still attached to it, I was like, okay, something good's gonna come out of this. And when he dropped out, I'm like, okay, my first initial thought was like, okay, Scream 7 is no more. But I heard a few people are like still attached, writers and things like that. And I think Guy Busick is his name, right? I think he's
Yes.
staying on the project from what I heard. So I don't know. There's still hope for it, but listening to what you have said, I think really their only option is to do like a complete reboot, and I don't know how I feel about that.
I do feel like we're gonna get some kind of news to finally clarify this, but it's kind of hard to
Yeah.
speculate otherwise right now. It doesn't seem like Nev Campbell wants to come back just based on her history with Spyglass. Maybe they get Kirby. She seemed really excited to be in Scream 6 again, so that could be cool. But I don't know. I mean, do you see any legacy characters coming back, or do you think like the only route for them now is just a full on reboot?
Oof, I think honestly, if it stays with Spyglass, everyone has like such negativity towards them right now. I feel like if it stays with Spyglass, their only option is to reboot. No one wants to be attached to the film because of everything that went on. So I think if they sell the rights to Scream, then maybe we can start to see some more characters. And that's the thing I liked about Scream is they very consistent. Like all six movies are canon. They're not doing what like Halloween did and kind of they're not doing the whole all over the place thing. They've been very consistent. So if they do a film like a reboot that's not going to be consistent and in the same timeline as the first six, that's going to be different to me and feel kind of weird.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that. I don't know. It just feels like there's no other option except Spyglass is gonna just cash out, make their movie, and just get rid of the rights, and then it's gonna just be this weird dud right in the middle of the Scream franchise. I hope not. I hope it ends up being something fun. But yeah, it's hard to disagree, man. It seems like that's gonna be the route they choose.
For sure.
We also have Saw 11 coming out next year after the success of Saw 10, Saw X, whatever you want to call it from this year. What are your thoughts on that one?
So I've seen all the Saw movies. The only one I haven't seen is Saw 10, which I hear is great. So I need to get on that train and watch that movie. But I think it's great they're doing another movie. And the thing is back in the day, they were knocking them out every single year, 2004, 5, 6, every year a new Saw movie came out. So the fact I think this one's coming out 2024, right? Just like a year later. I think they're so used to that formula that it's still going to be great. So I got to see Saw 10. I'm mad at myself for not seeing it yet, but the Saw franchise has never been my favorite. I do like them, but I think I was able to wait to see Saw 10, but I know I got to see it. So Saw 11, I'm glad they're doing it. All the Saw movies are successful, so I'm happy they're doing it, and I hope it continues.
I won't spend too much time on it because you haven't seen Saw X. It's because Saw 11 seems to be like a continuation of that specific story. So I don't want to, no spoilers, but
Yeah.
what I will say is I honestly didn't fall in love with the Saw franchise until earlier this year over the summer. I went through all the films again, just kind of back to back to back, followed that whole story. And it's really fun. I really enjoy it. And then Saw X adds this whole new layer of emotional value to Tobin Bell's killer character that I think you'll really enjoy. I don't know. For me, it really worked. It seems to have worked for the majority of audiences, but definitely give it a watch. It was without a doubt in my mind one of the better flicks from last year.
Yeah, and I will say he does make a Saw film, so seeing him back is awesome. Spiral really didn't do it for me, really. So
Yeah.
You've said things about that movie that I completely agree with. Like the killer was in your face the whole time. I knew it 100% when they mentioned his tattoo and didn't show a body. I'm like, I called it right there. I'm like, he's the killer.
Yeah, I like it was one of those things where like I enjoyed the cast. I just feel like
Yeah.
the writing was kind of sloppy. It was all
Yeah.
over the place at times. The traps were cool, whatever, but it's definitely at the bottom of my ranking, I think.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
agree.
so we also have I don't know if you're a fan of this franchise or not, but I'll throw it out there. The VHS franchise is coming back for a seventh installment. Do you have any excitement for this one?
So I've seen 1 and 2, and I hear so many amazing things about this franchise. From you. I just hear like I've heard friends talk about it. I see it online, and people love this franchise, and I think that's something I need to look into and give it another shot. And I love the fact that they're going back to like 99, 84, and they're doing all these other like eras of time. And from what I remember, the first and the second one were kind of like present day. They weren't like going back. So I'm like, that's something I gotta check out again. And the fact that in one movie you have different directors doing segments, I think that's interesting. So you see so many different things combined into one film.
We've also had some excellent directors just in the last three movies, dude. Like
Yeah,
we've gone through a bit of a revival from 2021 to now with these new movies. And dude, I think all of them are at the very least are worth your time. Some are
yeah,
definitely better than others, without a doubt. I think 94 is unequivocally the best one of these new three.
yeah,
99 and 85 are fun, but 94 is like it's the crown jewel of the franchise in my opinion.
yeah. Okay,
So if you have no other time for any other of these movies, 94 is the one to watch. And
94.
another thing that's nice about it is you don't really have to see the other ones to watch a different one. It's not really
Right.
anything that's it's very episodic in the way that they do this franchise. But the next one's going to space. How do you feel
Oh,
about a found footage segment in space? I don't know if that's something I want to throw out there.
I wonder, is that going to go to like the future then, or?
Great question.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
I don't even believe we have a full title for it. I just know that it's going to be that they have promised some segment is going to be found footage in space, and I'm like, how are they going to do that? I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Interesting. I'm gonna check it out. I didn't like Jason X, but that.
Yeah, it wasn't crazy about Jason X. Speaking of that, we do have Crystal Lake potentially coming out next year, as well as another miniseries for the Welcome to Derry miniseries. Do you have any excitement for these?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for Crystal Lake. Welcome to Derry. I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not as hyped for it as I am um, Crystal Lake. But I don't know. I feel like whatever they do on Crystal Lake, it's going to upset somebody, no matter what they choose to do, because it's like the whole prequel thing with Mrs. Voorhees. And I really do, and I think I know you've spoke about it before. Like, you know, we do want to see adult Jason, and I hope to see adult Jason at some point. So I don't know if they like intertwine it with going back and forth to like different periods of time, or if they focus maybe like season one on a prequel and then do the future on season two. But whatever they do, they're gonna upset somebody, and that's the thing I'm worried about with the new Halloween franchise. And that's going to be coming to TV series form as well. So I don't know. I prefer movies, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see Jason again. We haven't seen him since 2009, and I just feel like this is like putting the cart before the horse by trying to do
Yeah.
your weird thing all these years later,
Yeah.
and we haven't seen Jason. You got to start with familiarity. There's a reason the Halloween 2018 format worked so well. Say what you want about Halloween Ends, but all those movies made a lot of money, and that's because they started off with familiar and slowly got into the obscure as those films went along. The same thing is happening with Scream right now. 5 felt more like the first original movie, but just modern. 6
Right.
kind of takes it in some weirder directions. So what are your thoughts about that? Like them focusing on like Pamela Voorhees doing a more weirder, more obscure story than what you're used to for Friday. Do you think that'll work for fans?
I don't know. I think here's the thing. Like, I think if they go about it in that full prequel form, it's going to like attach people that have nostalgia for Jason, but it's not going to click with like a newer audience. So I think if they want to connect with like a newer audience, they need to add adult Jason in there too. So like, you know, the newer audience of like teenagers and people that want to see that stuff kind of like see what we saw growing up. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like, I feel like prequel wise, yeah, I'll be there because I'm nostalgic for it. But, someone that's like 15, 16, that age group that wants to see like a new show on TV, I feel like we need adult Jason back. You know what I mean? Because there's so many people now getting into horror that want to experience it for the first time. So I feel like at the very least, they have to mix it up.
I agree there. I do think that it can't just be the same thing. You know,
Yeah,
you can't just give us part 2 or part 4 again just because it would be playing the hits. Like that's something
exactly.
familiar, sure, but you got to make it different somehow. But I just think you're going beyond the formula by not having Jason be the focal point by focusing on Pamela Voorhees instead.
Yeah.
But you never know. Maybe it's of quality, man. I mean, we've been surprised by some weird entries before. So who's to say that it won't happen here again? That would be
Yeah.
nice to see.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Do you have any excitement for the Strangers trilogy that all 3 of them are supposed to release in theaters next May?
Yeah, no, I'm actually really excited for it. The first one was a genuine scary film. You know, it's like you don't have, a ton of death in it. Like I think like 2 people got killed in that movie, but it's like the suspense alone was just so scary. And that's the thing I like about the Strangers films. That's the thing I like about The Strangers Pray at Night. Those movies were so well done. And the fact that they're going to remake the first one with hopefully like maybe some more modern touches, even though I know they're not too far apart in time, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited for all 3 of them. And I think hopefully whoever, I don't know the name of the guy taking it on, but I hope he's like a Strangers fan. I'm sure he is, but I'm excited to see what they do with it because I love the first 2 Strangers. So even though it's a reboot, I'm excited for it.
Heck yeah, man! It's coming from director Rennie Harlin. I believe
Okay.
he directed like a bunch of weird movies. Off the top of my head, I know Die Hard 2 is one of them. So I don't
Yeah.
know if you're a fan of that one or not. That's pretty hit or miss with action fans. Some people really like that one. Some people don't.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, so is he? So if he did die, so he's probably brand new to horror, then, right?
I want to like I once again off the top of my head I just can't remember some of the horror things he's done for
Yeah.
whatever reason. Die Hard 2 sticks in my brain because
Yeah.
like me
Yeah.
personally I'm not crazy about that one, so I
Yeah.
was like, oh man, they're getting the guy from Die Hard 2 to do all 3 of these movies. That's wild.
Yeah.
But he has said that he's a big fan of both The Strangers and Pray at Night, the sequel from like I want to say 2016. So to me that screams okay, like he at least likes these movies.
Yeah.
I feel like he knows what he's doing. He's just said a few things about them that get me worried that they're going to over explain who the Strangers are, which is like the mystique of that franchise is what keeps me coming back. So I really
Yeah.
hope they don't just give all the answers. What are your thoughts on that though?
I don't know. I kind of agree with you because doing 3 movies, it makes me feel like, okay, the first one's going to be a remake, but second and third one, how are they going to follow? How are they going to follow that up? So I agree with you. I feel like there's going to be like some type of explanation there, especially if it follows the same character. I don't know if it's going to do that or it's going to be kind of like the Strangers going to like harass 3 different people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it depends. I don't know. I feel like if they go down that route and like the first one's its own like contained story, and then the second one is a sequel, but you're targeting someone else. I feel like that way they don't have to explain a lot. But if you're following a story of the same person from the first one, I feel like they're gonna get into details and potentially ruin it that way. But we'll see.
I think that there's a way that they can do it where they don't over explain it, but like
Yeah.
if the Strangers right now is just a big empty canvas with just a few brush strokes on there, they could just add another stroke of the brush. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? As opposed to just painting the whole picture for everyone to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
There's a way that they can do it where it's still mysterious, but just adds another layer. Just opens another page or whatever.
Yeah. Right.
I hope that's the way that they approach it, but I'm worried that they're just going to spell the whole thing out. It's like, the mystery's over. Okay, no more movies.
Right. Right. And I think I don't like how 3 movies are always announced at the same time. It's like, let's do one, see how it does. Kind of like how Smile's doing. Like they had so much
Yes.
success with that movie and then they decided upon a sequel. I'm like, let's do it that way. You know, as you know, The Exorcist, didn't, I mean, it made money, but it didn't do as well as they needed it to do. And they have 2 more movies. What are they going to do with that? The Exorcist Believer had such negative reception. So it's like, how are they going to go forward with 2 sequels? So I don't like when like studios do that. I feel like make your film. If it does well, then plan your sequels.
And I feel like Blumhouse, the only reason they planned 3 movies is because they had to pay so much money for the rights. But like I don't know. To me, it's like, what if they just like formed some sort of deal where it was just less
Yeah.
money? Maybe they took less away from it, or
Yeah.
something, so that
Yeah.
they didn't weren't $400 or $400 in the hole. Could you imagine if they paid only $400 for the rights to that? That'd be nothing.
Exactly.
Oh,
Right. Anyone
they'd
would
be
do it, right?
they'd be so positive right
Yeah.
now.
Right. I know. Right.
No,
Well,
but
I
yeah,
think-
like.
Oh,
Oh
no,
no,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead. Sorry.
well, I was gonna say, I think Blumhouse like luckily hit the jackpot with Five Nights at Freddy's. Like they have
Yes.
2 more films, which makes sense because that movie like made so much money. Like I feel like the next 2 are just gonna be as successful. Like I was in shock when I found out how much money that movie made, and I was never like I never followed like Five Nights at Freddy's the game, but I thought the movie was okay. I would have changed some things, but yeah, I'm glad it did so well in the box office and that fans really liked it. So I think they hit the jackpot with that. So maybe they have like a little wiggle room now with The Exorcist. I don't know.
And that's why I'm not going to call, like, I used to be like, oh, this is such a stupid business move. But
Yeah.
I mean, that precisely is why they knew
Yeah.
that movie was going to make a lot of money. I would even go so far as to say that Five Nights at Freddy's might have made more than they even expected. Because, I mean, there's
Yeah.
a huge following for it on the internet right
Yeah.
now. I mean, Markiplier built a whole career around it. I don't know if you follow him or not, but he's like one of the biggest gaming YouTubers ever now, just because he started playing that game back in the day.
Yeah.
So to me, I get why they made the purchase. I just wish that they had just spent more time on the Exorcist films. I feel like that they, with that movie in particular, they just wanted to get it out because it's the 50th anniversary in 2023.
Yep. And it has that name, The Exorcist. And I feel like they thought they hit the jackpot with that one, but they just necessarily didn't hit it. So I think it's going to cause a lot of hesitation with the next one.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, without a doubt. But something that I do think will make money because the first one, whoo, $200 million. Crazy.
Yep.
Smile 2 is coming out next year.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm excited for that. I want to see where they go with it. Like, are they going to follow Kyle Gallner's character, or are they going to go somewhere else with it? I'm excited to see what they do with that, because that first one, in going back, like Smile's another movie that I feel like I've seen 100 times, but it feels different than when we were talking about Imaginary, because it was just a good movie. They wrote it really well. The characters, the dialogue, it just that movie was really good, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I kind of thought about like the same premise as The Ring and things like that. But overall, I like that movie so much that I want to see a sequel.
I think there's such a big difference between just copying and pasting something from another movie versus like just following a familiar flow. Because like you said, I mean, it flows the exact same way as something like The Ring, where it's like procedural, where we're trying to get down to the bottom of what this like mysterious thing is that's coming after me the whole time. We've seen countless movies like this. If it's It Follows, Drag Me to Hell, The Ring, the list goes on. But I think what makes Smile so different is that it has a bit of tone that's completely different from those other films. It feels like a mixture of like Sam Raimi with like modern horror in a way. It's got a sense of humor about it. I love it. I think it's a really big standout from 2022, and I'm excited to see if they continue it with Kyle Gallner's character or not in 2024.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It looks I can't wait for it.
So if it picks up right where it left off, I mean, because we know I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but we do know that there's another cast member attached to this. Do you think it could focus on a different character, or does it just make more, like, would you prefer them to focus on Kyle Gallner's character right where we left off at the end of the last film?
I don't know. Like, honestly, with this movie, I'd be fine either way. I'd be fine either way, honestly.
It would be cool. I love Kyle Gallner. I think he's such an underrated aspect to horror. So I think there's a part of me that's leaning towards, I hope they just pick it up right where we left off, just right in the middle of that chaos. And then he just gets out and, you know, kind of, you get some more exposition and then it just gets crazy again.
Yeah.
That could be fun, but I'm not. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, I was going to say that'd be a great way to do it too. I agree with that.
But I'm not against starting fresh either, man, because I think that Parker Finn knows what he's doing. He's weaving a very fun story right now, and I'm excited for it, dude.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was his first like actual movie.
It was, yeah. It was based off of I believe one of the first short films he ever made too. Which is nuts.
That's awesome. I mean, he did a great job. Like that movie was highly successful, and I'm glad. And I'm like, congratulations to him. Like, that's awesome.
I think it's nuts that, you know, an original horror film like that made more money than a Halloween movie that was in theaters simultaneously. Like, that's so impressive. to me.
And then the main character, like Sosie Bacon, I think her name, Kevin Bacon's daughter, she did an amazing job in that movie.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a big loss for Smile 2 to not have her, honestly. She was a big driving force of that movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. Like, I didn't know where that movie was going to go. Like, I'm kind of surprised they killed her off, but I
Yeah.
guess it like fits the story well. Like, it's just like this cycle. But then again, I'm like, they could have had her do what the one guy did in prison and like kind of stop the cycle with her by killing someone else, which I know she tried to do, but I don't know. I still like the way they ended it, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe they'll show her in flashbacks in some form. I don't know.
Nothing will ever be as tragic as the ending to Drag Me to Hell, though. Have you ever seen that movie?
Oh yeah, I love that movie.
Oh my God, it's so upsetting.
Yeah.
It's just such an upsetting ending to a movie. I love it. I love both of those films though so much. Even though they are a little similar, but they're both very fun. Is there anything else from coming up in 2024 that you're really excited for?
Well, I know there's this new M. Night Shyamalan movie coming out. It's literally just called Trap. And from what I heard, is this movie solely takes place at a concert. And I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with that.
That sounds really interesting, man. I do got to say, my only thing about that is M. Night Shyamalan's been missing for me lately. But this new concept sounds really good.
Well, see, I agree with you on that because the Knock at the Cabin, I've heard so many negative things about it. I didn't even watch it. I didn't even want to watch it. I heard it was so bad.
I don't even know what happens. It's just nothing happens. It's just an uneventful movie. They're just like the world is ending all around them, and they're just in this cabin talking about it. I just told you the whole movie pretty much.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Like I don't know. Some of his movies are like for me like Lady in the Water. That's another one I heard was really bad that I didn't even check out. But I loved The Visit. I loved Signs. I loved The Sixth Sense. I really liked Split, but I did not like Glass.
I 100% agree. Like Split does it for me. Glass is like what happens?
Yeah, it felt weird to me. Like I don't know. I feel like they should have like Bruce Willis is great, but I feel like they should have left the whole Unbreakable thing separate and not combine the two movies together. I wish they would have just let Split be its own thing, but it is what it is.
It's like he was trying to do his own Avengers or something.
Yeah,
I was just so confused.
And that's what that movie felt like. It didn't even feel like horror to me.
Yeah, no.
And then all of a sudden, with the main character went through in that first film, like she was like on his side in Glass. It was just weird. I didn't like it. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't care for that one really at all. Even though like Unbreakable is fantastic. Like
that was a great standalone movie. That like seeing the two different worlds of someone so strong and someone so weak, and bringing them together in that movie. That was a good movie. I agree with you.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with M. Night recently. I think his like first couple of movies, like I think you said Signs earlier and like The Sixth Sense and stuff. These are like masterpieces. And then now he's just pumping out stuff where I'm like, the concepts are always interesting. I'm always invested in what like he's talking about and the concept that he's presenting. But man, the execution is just not there. Old is another great example of that. Great idea, just not there with the execution in my opinion.
Yeah. I heard things. That's another one I did not see, but I heard things about it. So. But I did hear him, like the article I read on this a while ago, and I think it's in pre-production right now, and it has like a 2024 release date, but they're very minimal on what they're saying about it. But I looked on IMDb, and apparently it's like starring Josh Hartnett from what IMDb says. So it's kind of be interesting to see him back in film. But from what I read, I think it was like back in like late summer. This movie just solely takes place at a concert. And it's going to be his most brutal films, from what I heard.
That would be great. I think M. Night needs a win so bad. I'm rooting. I'm actively rooting for him.
Yeah.
Even if I wasn't crazy about his like last three movies, I hope it's good. And the concept, like you said, sounds really intriguing. It takes place at a concert. I've never seen another horror movie do that for the entirety.
And from what I read, it's like solely at a concert, and that's all. The only place this movie takes place is at a concert. So I'm like, I don't know what they could do with that. It kind of sounds like some like Jordan Peele thing to me. Like I feel like that's something he would want to like attach himself to. So I'm excited for that, which I'm also kind of upset his movie got pushed out to 2025 because I really like his movies. The only movie I didn't care for that much was Nope, but
yeah. Nope is I didn't get it the first time, honestly.
I didn't either.
I was like, what are they trying to I watched it like maybe 3 more times and now I'm like, okay, I think I'm smelling what you're stepping in, Jordan. But wow, that was a weird one.
Like Get Out was I don't know, such a good film, so unique, so different. The premise of that film to me was a masterpiece all on its own. So I'm glad he kind of started going down that horror route. So I'm like, anything he makes though, I'm gonna check it out. Nope was kind of on the it's kind of like down there, but he does these movies where he makes you think. Like I feel like with Get Out, you didn't have to think that much, but once he did Us, like that movie really made you think, and it was such a new concept. And like I said, Nope, I was so excited for, but it kind of let me down. Maybe it's because I'm not a huge fan of like alien type movies, but I don't know. I feel like they could have did better. I mean, I can't say that though because I love The Faculty, which I guess they are doing a reboot to that. I don't know when it comes out, but
Yeah, I just talked about that today. I would love to see that next year. That would be cool.
yeah.
Apparently Robert Rodriguez is producing it too.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's fun. You know, why
Yeah,
not?
I think I read the article just the other day on like iHorror or something. It might have been like Bloody Disgusting too. I don't know, but I read it and I'm like, I love this movie. Like I so nostalgic to me. Like I love visiting movies I'm so nostalgic for because like when that movie came out, I was 10 years old and I loved that movie. So
Oh, it's a great one, dude. It's
yeah.
one of my favorites from Kevin Williamson, who wrote it as well. Oh my
Yeah.
god, the twist in that one really got me the first time too.
Oh yeah, for sure. That was great movie. I love it. I love it.
Would love to see a continuation to that. We also have Robert Eggers' movie coming out next year, a remake of Nosferatu. Do you have any excitement for this one?
To me, that one's not on my excitement list. It's really not. Like I never followed the original, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not into movies like that. Not to say I won't give them a chance, but they just like they don't spark my excitement. Like I don't know, like when it comes to like Halloween, Scream, I'm following those movies a year before they're even released and like getting every information about it that I can. Like the excitement, it's like I have to go see this the day it comes out. Movies like Nosferatu, I'm like, I can wait like a year after it is released to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, no, that's totally fair. I think my excitement for it is more so the fact that it's coming from director Robert Eggers. I don't know if you've seen any of his movies. These are once again very hit or miss with people. Like some people aren't crazy about him. He does like The Witch, The Lighthouse, The Northman. I don't know if you've seen any of those.
See, it's just I don't know. I don't know if it's like that style of like horror for me. It's not my favorite. I don't know. I stick more to like I like some paranormal stuff, but like my main thing is slashers. That's why I'm such a huge fan of Michael Myers and Ghostface. Like those are where like it is for me. You know what I mean? But I branch out like here and there. Like I said, I love Smile. I love Barbarian. I love seeing something new. I love that stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll say, and I don't mean to be presumptuous, but you probably won't be crazy about his movies. They're not fun. Like I'll tell you that from from experience. It took me 4 times to get through The Witch. Because it's just like it's so slow and they use like 1600s dialect, so you can't understand what they're saying. Like you have to watch it with subtitles, and you got to like write shit down because you're just like, what are they even talking about here? What
exactly
what's going on? I found it to be a rewarding experience because the ending actually is really brutal and upsetting. But yeah, dude, I mean, if it takes you 4 times to get through a movie, man, what's going on there? But
exactly.
But I don't know. I'm gonna check it out. I love the cast, man. Bill Skarsgård, Willem Dafoe, what's her name? Lily Rose Depp is gonna be in it. So I'm excited for that angle to it.
I mean, that's a good cast. That's a good cast.
Absolutely.
And I feel like sometimes like the cast will like I don't know, like sometimes I feel like people like might judge a movie like off its cast, like, oh, this person's in it, like, oh, that's gonna be great. This person's in it, that's not gonna be so great. I feel like they're judged off of like previous movies that they do. You know, so I don't know. We'll see.
And I think that's unfortunate too, because I've seen so many good performances from people in some movies, but then sometimes they happen to be under a bad director sometimes. And it's like, what was that? You know?
Exactly.
So you never know. I mean, sometimes you got to see more than one movie from a person, I think, to truly tell their acting ability. Like Kaylee Spaney, for instance, is starring in the new Alien movie from Fede Alvarez coming out next April. What a segue. What do you think about that one that's coming out?
I don't know. That Alien's just like another one. I seen the original a long time ago, and I never got into the sequels.
Ooh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Like Aliens, you're not even crazy about that one?
No, I've never seen it.
Dude, what? Oh man, listen, I know you said you weren't crazy about alien movies, but dude, Aliens is like, I mean, that's maybe the number one of all time.
Yeah, I know. I need to broaden my horizons a little bit. I know. I'm just like I don't know. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out. Aliens. I'm gonna check it out.
And the other thing I'll say about that is honestly, you don't have to see any of the other sequels. Like the important ones are the first one and that first sequel.
Okay.
Like 3 and 4 are whatever. AVP movies, they're fun for me because I grew up with them. But if you've never seen them, they're fine. And then the two Ridley Scott ones that came out, like Prometheus and Alien Covenant, I just wasn't crazy about. Some people really like them though.
Nice. Okay. Okay.
But Aliens from James Cameron, dude, it's oh man, it's a must watch in my opinion. So I'm hyped. I'm also hyped for Fede Alvarez to be behind the camera again. Are you a fan of his his other movies like Evil Dead 2013 and Don't Breathe?
Oh yeah, no, I really liked Don't Breathe. I really liked uh Evil Dead. And I liked the 2013 Evil Dead way more than I did Evil Dead Rise. So I mean that says a lot right there. He does good movies. And I think he did he was just a producer on the new Texas Chainsaw that Netflix
Yeah.
brought us. And I mean that movie was okay. So I mean like I don't know. But I'm excited for Thanksgiving 2, which isn't next year, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that and we know that movie and Megan too are coming out in 2025. I
Yep.
mean, screw it. Are you excited for those?
Oh yeah, Thanksgiving 2 more than Megan because I Thanksgiving was such a good movie. I was highly impressed with that movie. I was so excited to see it. Like that was like another because like when I first heard Thanksgiving was coming out, I didn't expect what we got. Like it to me it didn't seem like an Eli Roth film. It didn't, but I don't know what he did with it was great. I know he's like I don't know. I expected like something more like it didn't feel like his style as opposed to like Hostel 1 and 2. And I don't know I don't know if he changed his style. I don't know if like the studio got involved, but I loved that movie. It was like the perfect slasher. It kind of like brought me back to like made me feel like the whole Scream thing, like mass killer, find out who it is at the end, and I'm excited to see what they do next because they highly left it open for a sequel.
It is without a doubt his Scream franchise. I
Yeah.
mean, like you can see the remnants of that, especially in the first one. But I think the one thing that I was really happy carried over from Hostel, Green Inferno, like all of those movies into this one was his dark sense of humor.
Yeah.
Which if you go back and watch those movies, like you'll see it there. It's undeniable, and it was cool to see that in Thanksgiving, especially in that opening scene at during the Black Friday madness and all that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was just a great movie from beginning to end. Like I'm so excited to see what they do with the second one because like a lot of people suspect that that movie had a second killer, and I think so too because there's some inconsistencies that like logic wise don't match up to me. So I'm like there has to be someone else that was involved in that.
Well, so spoiler alert for Thanksgiving. I'll just say this for those who haven't seen it. The killer who was revealed, 3, 2, 1, Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah.
Do you think he's still alive? Because we got that little stinger scare right at the end of the film. Is that a possibility?
I do. Like they made a point to show you one of those firefighters. He's under one of those firefighters masks for sure.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about
Yep.
that. Oh yeah, he
Yeah,
could have just gotten
feel
away.
like I feel like he pulled a Michael Myers and he killed one of the firefighters. And even though I know he wasn't killing people that weren't guilty, but I think he did it this time to get away. So
Kind of obscures his motive a little bit just for selfish reasons. I mean, that's entirely possible though. That makes a lot of sense. He still hasn't fulfilled his motive though, which I think is part of that. He hasn't killed all the people involved.
You're right. And like they they're like, oh, they didn't show us a body. They're like, but there's no way he survived. So I'm like, he survived. He's in that mask and he walked away. So, but I do think like even if he did survive, which I think he did, it's gonna somehow the next movie is gonna somehow involve him and a new killer. So I'm excited to see what they do with that. Because I think like going forward, it's gonna be like the kind of premise with Scream, like new killer every movie. I feel like you have to do that now, seeing as though you did that on the first movie.
So with that though, real quick, I'm curious if you think one of the other killers is someone we've already met in the first movie.
Yeah, I do actually.
Could it be like I'm so suspicious of the boyfriends. Like I really think there's something going on there.
I do. Not Bobby, but her old boyfriend, but the new guy, like I don't know, he's something's off with him.
He's just a little too nice.
He's
Something.
a little too exactly. Like I don't know, something seems off about him. And they set him up as like a red herring, and they did it with so many people, so like you never know, but something was off with him. It really was. But I also didn't expect Patrick Dempsey to be the killer. But watching that movie a second time, like you could kind of put the pieces together. I'm like, okay, it makes 100% sense.
Yeah, I got to see it again in theaters, and I really
Yep.
paid attention to that. Yeah, no, I mean, without a doubt, there's so many edit. It's a lot in the editing more so than anything else. Like they'll
Yep.
show you a shot of Patrick Dempsey, it cuts to the statue of John Carver, like during that one sequence. It's like,
Yeah,
oh
right.
no way, he's he walks right up to the house, you hear him breathing, just like Michael Myers at the beginning of that film.
Yep.
And it's him. It's like, ooh, that was a really nice way to tease that. So
Yeah, no, they give you a lot of clues. That makes sense.
So with upcoming horror though, is there any other weird movies coming out in 2024 that you're excited for that we have yet to cover?
Well, I know from what I heard, They Follow, the sequel They Follows is coming out next year too. So I hope we see that.
Oh, dude, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm very excited. It follows it's very near and dear to my heart. I love a good horror soundtrack, and that first movie is just chef's kiss, one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah. No, and like so like originally the only reason because like originally that movie had like no like I had no interest in seeing it when it first came out, but I went to go see it because it was filmed locally to where I live. So I'm like, this is gonna be cool to see all these places in this movie, that I'm so familiar with. And then I watched after I kept watching it a few more times, I'm like, this is a new premise. It's scary. It's very scary what they do. And like the more I watch that movie, I'm like, okay, this is a good premise and this is something different. And I'm glad they're doing a sequel. I just hope that they don't ruin it.
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%. I think the ambiguous ending to that first film is just the cherry on top of a pretty damn perfect Sunday. So I hope that they don't ruin it just for the sake of a continuation to make more money, even though I am hyped to see just another film with that same premise.
Right. And I think like the scariest thing to me is that this like entity is after someone and only you can see it. Like to me that's scary because it's like this thing can pop up out of nowhere and there's really no one that can help you. It's like if you could see something like so demonic and scary and no one else can see it, to me that's scarier than anything else.
Because there's no calling the police. Like they're not
No,
going to
no,
believe you, you know?
no. It's just like it feels like it's always going to be there and like torment you, and no one else knows what you're going through. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
different and it's scary.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I love that first movie. It blew me away the first time I saw it. So I'm hoping that
Yeah.
they're able to capture that same magic here and the same like bizarro feel that movie has. It just feels like it's like a movie that's lost in time. I was kind of shocked to hear it came out in 2014
No,
when I first watched it.
the way they film it, it's like you can't tell if it's like takes place in modern day or like back in the 80s, but they mesh them together. You have I
Yeah.
feel like you have like this like vibe that it does take place in the 80s, and then you have her friend who has like the seashell cell phone, and it's like okay, that's at that time was modern technology. It seemed like so. It's like I don't know. It's kind of like they're kind of mixing two different vibes together, and it worked.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I don't know. It's a great movie. I love it. I'm hoping
Yeah.
the sequel stands up to it, dude. I'm very excited for it though. I'm very excited
No,
to see what
I
they
am
put
too. The
together.
fact that they're bringing back the same director and then Micah Monroe, I think her name is. Like, I'm excited. And she had a pretty solid career following It Follows. So I'm like, I wonder, what she's going to be capable of in this, and I'm glad she's coming back.
Did you ever watch the movie Watcher from 2022?
No, and I still need to. I was just thinking about that today when I was literally thinking about this movie and talking about it. I'm like, I have to go back and watch that movie.
That's definitely a good one to watch for
Yeah.
her career. That's I feel like it's a little under talked about. I remember I think Guillermo del Toro praised it in 2022, but it also comes from a very underground director that I personally loved. Her name is Chloe Okuno. She made
Okay.
and I'm sorry to bring it back to VHS. Oh my
No, it's
god, I
okay,
love
yeah.
that franchise. She directed one of my favorite segments of VHS 94. So
Oh,
it's
nice.
it's cool to see
Yeah,
that
yeah.
connection there.
Yeah, I have some new movies I got to check out for sure. Like, I need to so many platforms I need to check out. I have Shutter now, so I'm like, I got to check out Shutter and all these
Dude,
other things.
but Aliens before anything, man.
Okay.
Oh man.
All right, I'll put that on my list to start there, and then I'll go to like VHS 94.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Good stuff, man. Well, I'm very excited for 2024. If you had to name like one of the movies that we just talked about as like your absolute number one most anticipated, what do you think that would be?
Honestly, probably Maxine,
Dude, hell yeah.
and then directly from Maxine, I'm gonna say Terrifier 3.
Those are honestly, I'm with you. I think those might be my two favorites as well. I like, as a big Saw fan, I'm excited for 11, but I'm a little worried with that one because we're not getting the same writers as Saw X. So I think Maxine and Terrifier 3, I think these are going to be my maybe my two favorites of next year, unless there's some original that, you know, we just don't know about yet.
Right. And that's the thing, like with like Maxine and Terrifier 3, those are two movies I know I'm going to have to see the day they come out. Like Night Swim, if I had to push it off a week, I could. But like if there's a movie I'm like, I know I have to see this the night it comes out, like it just goes to the top of my list. And those two movies are it for me.
Oh, without a doubt. I don't care what's going on. I'm there Thursday night, man.
Yep. If I gotta go by myself, I gotta go by myself. So yep.
Absolutely, man. I am so excited to see what 2024 holds for us. I hope an even better year than 2023. Not to diminish what we got this year. We did get some pretty fun movies, man. I mean, like Talk to Me and I can't think of any other 2023 horror. Saw X, Thanksgiving. Yeah. I'm like, wow, blank mind for 2 seconds there. But I'm hoping it's a better year. I will say that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's going to be a good year. Like with like, I don't know. I feel like more and more people are getting into horror these days, and I'm excited for that.
And we're getting a whole bunch of like all over the place genres too. Like it's very versatile these days. Where maybe like in the 80s it was more like. Not to say that 80s horror is bad. It's the golden age. Come on. But but I think it's just all over the place, which is something that's really exciting. It's really unpredictable every year what's going to be good, what's not.
Right. No, I know it. It's like I don't know. I'm so excited for it. Like horror, it's always going to be my top genre. My favorite subgenre is always going to be slashers, but like I love checking different things out. Like I said, Barbarian like did it for me. I'm like, it was just I love seeing original films on top of like my favorite franchises. So there's just so many good things out there. So many good things, like you said, I need to still check out. So,
and that's the thing that I'm like, before we end this, that's the thing I'm excited for in 2024. What's that original like Barbarian or Smile gonna be?
I know
that totally blows us away. Like I'm so excited for whatever that surprise is gonna be.
Yep, and it'll show up every. I feel like whether it's good or not, every year we get something like that. You know.
Oh yeah.
We'll see. Like I hope whatever it is, it does, you know, not necessarily top Barbarian and Smile, but I hope it's like on the same level because they were both very impressive films.
Absolutely, dude. Oh, 100%. Well, I'm very excited to see what 2024 holds. Leave us in the comments below what you're the most excited for. Yeah. And of course, Slashing It with Matt, you have a TikTok and a YouTube, correct?
Yep. So like Slashing It with Matt on YouTube, still working on, you know, trying to get myself back on there, you know, make more videos. It's like what I'm passionate about. I just got to really work on finding the time to make something great. And TikTok is, I think I just said, yeah, everything with Matt. And YouTube is Slashing It with Matt, my name here. So, yeah.
Very nice, dude. You know, you just got done with the holidays and stuff. You're still figuring your stuff out. That's all good.
Yeah, yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for checking out another episode of the podcast. Please make sure to subscribe. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all. Peace out.
Thanks, guys. Bye.